The meteor showers are coming in full force. The meteor scan has been illuminated by streams of meteors coming in for several hours. Now, some of the spikes have been very, very high. When you are looking at the spikes, such as what is on your screen, when you see the white peaks, that means the meteors are larger and much hotter. These have been coming down for several hours. As you can see on your screen, they are coming down in streams of meteors. Now, this is a serious situation in the fact that any one of these meteors could impact the ground. Unfortunately, the meteor scan does not give us a location, and it does not give us a size of these meteors. We do not have an early detection system, and apparently NASA has dropped the ball because we are getting no reports at all from NASA that this event is occurring. Now, back on the 16th and 17th and 18th of this month, whenever our channel was reporting on the story about the asteroid being fragmented and destroyed, in our updates, we did mention that there is going to be a very, very high possibility that we will undergo meteor showers from the fragmented pieces. I did also state that this could last for a few days, a week, or a few weeks. We just don't know because those are huge factors. Some of the footage that we had come in today was just so incredible that I had to share it with you. This photograph came in and is dated for yesterday, and it's from the SOHO LASCO space telescopes, and this is one incredible, bright, shining star. No idea what it is. These photographs were taken telescopically by one of our Nibiru watchers, who is absolutely awesome. The blue Kachina, the green planet that we've all been seeing, and this planet coming up, this is Nibiru. There's no doubt, folks, that's the planet that we've been chasing. You can see it has a rather large debris field around the planet. Kind of makes it look staticky, but it's a very large debris field. This photograph we found to be absolutely incredible, the detail in the planet. You know, everyone, after taking some time today to reflect and think about some things, and taking some time off, well, with everything going on around us, there is no time to take off. There's no time to be spineless. There's no time to back down and walk away with your tail between your legs. We're here to make that stand, and that's what we're going to do.
So you're saying, so the information that we do get from NASA, it can be accurate, it can be truthful, but and it's harmless and it's educationally. But the reason they didn't tell us about the asteroid that hit there in February of 2013 in Russia, and the reason they didn't tell us about what was going to hit last night or yesterday, is because if they were to announce, guys, in 3 days there's an asteroid going to hit the Earth. We don't know exactly where, but it's going to hit, and then it hits, and it's in Siberia. If they was to just tell us stuff like that, people would be in total panic mode. So you're saying we're never going to get a heads up from them. We need to understand that.
No, you're not. And so thus you have this near Earth asteroid program, JPL. The reason that was instituted that was for the public to see they're doing something about it. But ever since that time, Pastor Paul, we've been having we've been having things intrude in our atmosphere for a very long time, and from time to time they will designate these objects that pass by us, which satisfies the public. Here's the truth. The truth is this: while that, let's call that debris that impacted in the vicinity of Australia, while that happened, did you not know there were 2,100 other objects of smaller types that penetrate the atmosphere? And so all these things are being tracked, but and no, they're not going to talk about this on mainstream media, because if you don't talk about something, it gets no traction.
Right. So remember when you told us about 3 years ago that there will be a time, they can hide this for a while, but there's a time coming when you can no longer hide it. That the general public is going to see too much. There's going to be too many deep impacts, too many meteors are being spotted, too many buildings shaken, too many injuries, even people being killed, that folks are going to say, hey, you guys can see this stuff. You're not telling us. Is that day approaching soon? And is it tied anything to do with the second wave of energy?
Yes, that day is approaching. In fact, it's forming and it's increasing in momentum every single day. And we're going to have an ionosphere nightmare here shortly.
What?
As the particles continue to come into the atmosphere and they're charged particles breaching our magnetosphere, they're going to build up in the ionosphere, thermosphere, magnetosphere, right? Right below that. When that happens, the temperature is going to increase up to about 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit. When this happens, it's going to cause enormous stress on any satellites up in that area. When that happens, satellites are going to start falling from the sky. So you're going to see degradation of orbits like nobody ever saw before, and it's going to seem like meteor storms, but it's going to be debris. Half of these satellites do have small nuclear reactors. The truth is we don't have to launch a nuclear missile to start a nuclear holocaust or to have a nuclear winter. All we have to do is not do anything. And these satellites that are in space, some of the nuclear reactors in there are going to hit the atmosphere, burn up, and then spread all around the world. And then we're going to have a nuclear nightmare. That within itself will poison all the waters. There's so much radioactive material in space right now running these satellites that if anything, has a buildup, causes a buildup of particles in the ionosphere, guess what, or in the thermosphere, you're going to have a bunch of satellites degrading in orbit coming back to Earth.
Wow.
When that happens, you're looking at a 2-month period. When the buildup happens, you're looking at a 2-month period in which all the waters of Earth could be poisoned by all those small reactors. Now, remember, these things have there are a lot of chemicals up there, and this is why they have to destroy them before they ever come into Earth's atmosphere. They have to destroy them.
So let me ask you.
Atmosphere could poison.
Okay, so you're saying the satellites, and there's lots of them now floating around the Earth. When they start to fall back into the Earth, they've been up there in space long enough now that they are totally radioactive, and so if you let them come down, they're like a radioactive reactor coming down. The China's space station is falling. BP's been tracking it. It's fallen 5 miles in the last week. It's coming down. This thing has got to be a nuclear radiation nightmare. I mean, are they going to blow it away? They're going to shoot it out of the air and let it little pieces? I mean, is this what you're saying?
Well, let me clarify 2 things. When you launch a satellite, some of the satellites that are launched, they already have nuclear reactors in them when they go into space.
Okay.
Most of them have highly radioactive chemicals in them when they go into space.
Okay.
Which is the reason they have to incinerate them before they ever come to Earth. There are many they have incinerated already. Air Force has this task, okay? And NATO has a special division. They have this task. And Russia will work with the U.S. on that because they know what will happen if they don't. So what I'm telling you is the entire world works together so that none of these things breach the atmosphere, right?
Yes.
That's what they do. Now, they're already loaded with chemicals and everything else. And so guess what, Pastor Paul? As this energy begins to build up in the thermosphere and the ionosphere, these satellites are going to heat up. That's going to cause failures. They're going to degrade in orbit. They're going to burn their fuel up too much. They're coming back to Earth. And it's the way, and these underground bases, I know that people think they're 4 deep, in fact. Well, guess what? They're made for these satellites. You don't launch a satellite unless you have a contingency of what if scenario when they come back down. They will come back down.
All right. So it's going to happen, and there's nothing you can do about that. So we're looking at a situation. So let's talk now about the aurora. You said that if we start seeing these, that means that this wave of energy is affecting our force field, basically. I mean, I'm hearing, Mike, we're leading back to Planet X again. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Something's shaking the heavens up there. Something's breaking all this stuff loose. And I don't know if there's a Planet X or not. I mean, I really don't. Something's doing it. I don't know if God just takes a deep breath and blows, or does he send one of this binary system in play. But there are people that are saying there's sightings going on. Now, I'm going to say something to you, Mike, and people are going to say I'm nuts. But the other night, Heidi and I were outside. There was a crescent moon, and it was orange-red. It was not fully red, but it was in between. It was orange-red. And in 20 minutes, it went down like a sunset. Okay? It was one of the weirdest things we've ever seen in our life. We just said, since when does the moon do a sunset? So I'm thinking, is the Earth tilted some, or is there something different going on? And does that got anything to do with what's happening with everything else? I'm just wondering, is the Earth tilted some? Are we in a slow pole shift?
The Earth has moved a little bit. Those who operated sundials have noticed they're out of position. Do you know sundials are off?
Yep.
The shadows are off on a sundial.
By 30 minutes.
So that indicates a tilt on the Earth. It's going to continue to tilt, but we have a bigger problem. It's called the magnetosphere. There's the real scenario that all of us are going to entertain at some point, and they're preparing very fast. All the important people in the United States, Pastor Paul, you're going to notice missing. They're going to do an exchange of Congress and everything else. You're going to notice a lot of new people in Congress, but all the old wise ones will be gone. They're going to be effectively sent somewhere else. This will be coordinated all over the earth, and they're going to be sent somewhere else.
Are you talking underground cities? Are we talking now these underground cities? Are they going to start? Are they already sending some down there?
I'll say once you enter into one of those places, you never come topside. Nobody goes down there and pops back up again. You don't do that. That comes up like a permanent duty station.
Right.
And when you notice half the wise leadership leaving in many countries, well, then you know something's afoot, and they will do it. So, which is what they naturally do, because if a war breaks out or anything else, they're going to take shelter. They will instruct you, but they're fully protected, right? For what they call COG, or continuity of government. Other things. Well, the corporate people are doing it first because they're moving out of any danger zones, right?
Yeah.
And they've been doing this for a very long time, methodically. So what we're facing here is a maneuvering of many people that are about to protect themselves and leave everybody else hanging, right?
Yep.
And so, yes, they're expecting something. Now, there will come a point in time when people will entertain seeing something in the heavens that will be a permanent fixture in the heavens and become brighter and brighter and brighter without any explanation.
What?
I'm not surprised. They may blame it on Betelgeuse or something like that, or say something with supernova. That's not going to be it. They tried to prep the world, and we actually in 2005 we had a discussion saying that nobody's going to buy the supernova lie, right?
Right.
Because they were going to say, well, guys, if you see a real bright object in the sky, that means something went supernova in the sky. Well, we knew people wouldn't buy that, and I was privy to sit in a conversation back during that time, and that was a failed attempt to cover for something else. The fact is, what they call the destroyer is real. It's very real, and it's twofold, and it's like nothing anybody else has ever seen.
Wow!
If we live in a binary system, I guess everybody's going to find out if we live in a binary system.
All right, now time out, Mike. Okay, and this is great. You're laying some of these cards on the table, and we really appreciate it. Because you're saying we are going to see something out there. People are going to see something out there. It's not a supernova. It is. I mean, if it's not Planet X, it must be Planet X. let me just say this. You know, this past weekend, I baptized 9 people. One was John Bro Jr. John Bro, 8 people came out of Louisiana, of his family, to be baptized. Now, you've talked to John Bro before, and some people even thought that you were John Bro, and you guys had to get through that about 2 years ago and had to have to show and prove you're not. Which was ridiculous. But anyway, John Bro is a nuclear engineer, and he retired nuclear engineer for submarines, and then worked for Chevron as an executive. He's a highly brilliant man, just as yourself. He was asked to do scientifically and mathematically the calculations on Planet X, of which I asked him Sunday, sitting there, and I was having an omelet, and I said, John, I just need to ask you. You did the numbers. Gil Brazard did his work. You were part of the 13 different people asked to do the numbers. Is there such a thing as Planet X, or is it mathematically, if we haven't seen it yet, is it mathematically possible to do what he says and what the theory is? He said, absolutely, 100%. It is mathematically, I can prove to you that there is a binary system, and that what that other object is would probably be what you want to call it, Planet X, whatever you want to call it. Gil Brazard is right. It's there. Maybe he's off by a few months or whatever. But look at the effects. All you got to do is watch the effects of asteroids, meteorites, different things. All you got to do is watch the effects that are happening in the heavens, which the Bible says, Mike, that the fig tree is going to cast its untimely figs. You know, the heavens are going to be shaken like a fig tree, shaking loose figs before they're ready to fall off. And you got to really shake a fig tree to get the fig to come off early. So I'm just letting you know that you're revealing today the actual situation here, that we're going to see this thing. Do you think people have already seen this bright light you're talking about, this being out there? Has it been seen? Is it being seen now? Because I got people calling me everywhere. I got Planet X guys on YouTube. They got channels. I got people calling everywhere. They got people who's got taking pictures. Folks are freaking out, Mike. They're saying they've got a glimpse of it. Have they? Is it visible? Mike from around the world. Hello, Mike. Mike from around the world. And the NSA, he's still on the line, but that's dead silence. Mike from around the world, are you just being, have they silenced you? Okay. Apparently they have. Apparently they have. He's gone. Well, you heard him. I think he did everything he could to give us every hint possible that we're going to see. And maybe he couldn't answer the last question, has it been seen? But he certainly put it out there for us. And my best guess will be that that's what's causing the shakings in the heavens. All I can say this, from a small country preacher sitting here in the cornfields of Indiana, that Jesus said the heavens would shake. Jesus said that there would be, people would have heart attacks. And maybe that's why the NSA won't let Mike answer the question. There's 2,454 people live on YouTube right now. I've actually watched major television announcements. They don't get this many people watching live, and this is the middle of the day. You want to know why there's 2,454 people live there and not counting everywhere else? It's because they can't get this kind of reporting and truth. Mike, are you back? Are you back? Are you back? Oh, yes. Good. Mike, I threw the question out there, and then we never got an answer on.
I never got your question.
Okay, the question's this. You've laid your cards on the table for us wonderfully. And you said people are going to see this light. They're going to see this something way out there in the distance. There's no other way around this. It's going to be, I'm going to ask you a question because I got guys calling me. I got people emailing me. I got people, there's YouTube channels, Planet X channels. People are freaking out. They got pictures. Mike, has this thing been seen? This light, this distant binary planet or whatever is affecting the heavens to shake. Has it already been seen? Are these people who are saying this, is anybody out there who's saying this actually got a glimpse of this thing?
Okay, I'll say this. Our solar system is pretty big, right?
Right.
Our solar system. Imagine that, how big our solar system is, all the way out to Pluto, correct?
Yes.
So this other system is just as big, right?
Okay.
So they have been seeing are some of the objects that orbit that sun, and it's a very strange way it operates. I'm going to go ahead and let's put it out there, everybody. Here it goes. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
You ready for this? Okay, so when you have two stars, right? When you have two stars, one is classified first as when the sun stops its fusion of binding hydrogen atoms. All right, it begins to burn oxygen and carbon, causing it to be a white dwarf. Well, there's another stage after that too, and it eventually goes very cold. Okay. Now here's what happens as it comes back into its twin system, right? That cold star begins to attract helium and hydrogen from the companion star. So it effectively refuels, right? And it makes the companion star much heavier. It refuels it, almost like it's refueling it for its trip back into space. Our sun is reacting to something else coming into it. A planet is not big enough to cause the sun to react, okay?
Okay.
But another star is. Now that star could be far away and cause our sun to react. So what I'm saying is that people are absolutely seeing some things of a different system coming into this system, which and that is the perturber. That is the explanation for the perturber. So anybody who's ever run the numbers, they have come up with the only explanation they've come up with mathematically that fits in that formula of gravity and electromagnetism, right? And it would give evidence for certain objects or belt objects and rotational perturbations of things, is that another twin system is coming into this system. And wouldn't you know it, some of the ancient documents that were hidden long from mankind that they won't reveal today because they're, buried deep into Lord knows where, they always foretell of another sun. Some of the things that you read, when you read anything of old times, you don't know whether they're talking about the other sun or our sun. You don't know that, right?
Okay.
And so a lot of these documents talk in perspective of another sun. And so we're facing this thing yet again. It's coming back through yet again. And we live in the time of the greatest transition and one of the most painful transitions, right, that we'll have. See, most people are so comfortable with the natural order of things where nothing happens. We have long forgotten what anything like that. Nobody today alive knows what that looks like. But all the simulations point to it. I have done a recent simulation. I've been working 2 years on a simulation. I mean a full simulation. And this simulation it's not good news, but it's very accurate, Pastor Paul. It's accurate down to 3 days accurate, according to everything that's been happening. And so even that simulation indicates that a twin system is coming and it matches with other systems. The reason why I had to do my own simulations is I can't take information from any governmental source, right?
Right.
To actually get to anybody. I can't do that. So the only way I could do that is from scratch. So I took 2 years and did that from scratch with no information from anything of the government, but only from observational viewpoints, vantage points. I already know the real story. But you need something where people can actually take the simulation and see all the elements and come up with the same figures accurately, not guessing, not hoping, not wishing, for or against, but accurately. And this has been done.
All right. So what
is in deep trouble.
So what you're saying, and you might not have heard me when I was explaining having breakfast, having a lunch. I was eating an omelet, but having lunch with John Breaux Jr. And he is a nuclear submarine engineer and a brilliant. He also a Chevron oil executive that worked in engineering. a brilliant mind of a high IQ, who was asked to do the model, to figure out mathematically, much like you. It sounds like he must have done a model, a simulation, mathematically, similar to what you've done. And he said, Paul, absolutely, 100%, there is an entity, something that, he wouldn't say what, but that is causing the effects that we're having on our universe, on our planet, on our solar system, is from another huge entity. So, and I'm hearing you say the exact same thing. You've done the work for 2 years, and it's absolutely 100%, it is going to happen. It is already in play. And soon people will be spotting this. It's not a star, it's not a nova, it's not a supernova. It is an actual entity or being. I'm talking about it. It's not a planet, it's much larger. It's like another star is what you're saying. It's like another star, and it's affecting, it's drawing on the sun, it's messing with us, it's shaking the heavens, and it's affecting us. And we're living in this transition into the new millennium. We're actually going into a new time. This is it. This is the biblical revelation taking place.
Yeah, it is. And Patrick, just to clarify now, this other system has an asteroid belt too.
Okay.
What happens when one asteroid belt comes into ours? And it's not happening where both are level. One system will come up from the south.
Okay.
One system is coming up from the south of us. Because it's weird the way the universe runs. When I finish the simulation, I'm going to give you a couple of animations, videos of the simulation, just a part of it, so people can see how the solar system is moving around the plane. Pastor, now, here's what happens as this twin star gets closer. You're going to see some of the sun's material pointing in one direction. Like our sun will grow a tail. And guess what's going to happen to it? It's going to become incredibly bright, and it'll go down to a red hue. It'll turn red. And then, as this other star begins to absorb helium hydrogen from our sun will go black and be twice as hot. The sun will go black and be twice as hot.
That's what the Bible says in Joel 2.
It's been observed. This has already been observed in most of the binary systems out there, and one sun always goes black with the companion star is in proximity. You will see the companion stars as a tiny dot in the sky.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why would one sun go dark? Is it because the other one is brighter?
No, because the other sun will be taking the helium and hydrogen from the sun with the helium and hydrogen. So it's going to refuel itself.
Okay.
It will draw those materials to itself. Now, when it does this, that pull is so strong, even photons can't reach the Earth.
I got it.
All the photons are also redirected. Photons are light.
It's sucking all the air out of the room. In other words, it's so powerful, it's sucking all the air out of the room. In other words...